I want to welcome everyone to our first baseball Shabbat, hopefully the first of many. And I want to tell you what a delight it is to see so many children in the sanctuary wearing baseball uniforms. I want to let you know, however your children come to services, they should just come to services and let them have fun like today. Before I introduce Brandon, I want to just take a brief moment and thank Ron and Donna Bender for sponsoring Baseball Shabbat, as well as the Kiddush Luncheon today. And I want to thank the Shalom House. I want to thank Shalom House for helping us obtain all of the Team Israel kippot for today. Each child who participated in the clinic is going to gets a Team Israel baseball kippah. Thank you very much for making it possible. And most of all, I want to thank Brandon Gold. I'm going to welcome him to the Bima in just a moment. There is a providence, an etzba Elohim in all of this. I was standing at a travel league baseball game watching my son play, and I said to my dad, if I could just figure out how to reach out to Team Israel to get a player to come to the synagogue, we could create such a great program. And one of Simon's assistant coaches turns around and says, I played for Team Israel. And in that moment, I knew that this was meant to be. Brandon Gold will speak to us this morning about his upbringing in the greater Atlanta area, his upbringing in the Jewish day schools, his career as a baseball player, and kind of the intersection of baseball and his Jewish identity in his invitation to play and then his experience playing for Team Israel. There are many ways that each of us can connect with the state of Israel and make it our home. Some of us choose to make Aliyah and live there. In a few weeks, after the high holidays toward the end of October, we'll welcome friends of the IDF here into the sanctuary, and we'll have Israeli soldiers that speak to us on Shabbat morning, another way that people connect to the state of Israel. But I'd suggest that the newest, most innovative way that young American Jewish children connect to the state of Israel, I should say young American Jewish men connect to the state of Israel, is by playing for their sports teams around the world. And so Brandon represents kind of the newest evolution of how Jews in this country wear the Israeli flag on their uniform proudly and contribute to the growing narrative of the Jewish people around the world. It's my absolute pleasure to welcome Brandon Gold to Valley Beth Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Well, first, please adjust this. I'm not used to speaking. First, he pretty much just told all of my speech, so we didn't really have that when we talked last week. I didn't realize that he was going to tell so much about myself. But anyway, so my name is Brandon Gold. I'm so honored to be here today, and I'm so excited to be here. When I was sitting down with the rabbi last week, we were going over what today would entail with the clinic and everything and speaking, and I kind of expressed to him that I'd probably be a little bit nervous up here. I'm a baseball player. I'm not a speaker. And his response was, "Don't worry about it. You'll be fine. It's your life. It's something naturally that's going to come to you." And I turned to him and said, let me ask you something. If I put you on a baseball mound right now and told you to throw 5 strikes, would you be a little bit nervous? And I was like, that's how I'm going to feel up there, okay? I'm used to the stuff that we're going to do outside after this. I'm not so much used to this. Anyway, so like he said, I'm from Atlanta. I'm from a town, Johns Creek, Georgia. It's about similarly in distance to what Encino is to downtown Los Angeles. And before I get into the athletics and baseball part of my life, I just wanted to introduce a little bit of my upbringing, like he said. So I went to Jewish day school at Davis Academy, which is one of the 3 main Jewish day schools in the Atlanta area. Coincidentally, as I just realized looking at the kippah up here, we were also the Lions. I did not realize that Valley Beth Shalom is the Lions, but we were the Davis Academy Lions. Going to Jewish day school was so important to me. Not that I had the decision to go there, but my parents ended up making that decision, and it turned out to be an amazing decision. So much so that, during my bar mitzvah years, not my bar mitzvah, but 7th and 8th grade year, I took baseball off that year. It was more important for me to be with my friends, see them become bar mitzvah, than continue my journey on baseball. Going to Jewish day school, taking Hebrew class, even when I was just up here, I'm not sure where, he was like, oh, you speak Hebrew? And I was like, no, I used to. I wish that I kept it. My mom's watching right now in Atlanta, and one of the things that she always told me when I moved from middle school to high school was, don't lose your Hebrew. If any of you kids speak Hebrew right now, don't lose your Hebrew, because just like she said it, I definitely regret it. All of that kind of came together in my 8th grade year, and we ended up going to Israel as a class. There's 80 people, give or take, in my class, and we went to Israel for 2 weeks. It was my first time and my only time being to Israel, and I hope someday to go back soon. I'm sure everyone that's here that's been to Israel understands that 2 weeks isn't enough in that country, and there's just so much to do there and so much history. I got to see everything, though. I got to climb Masada, even though, unfortunately, it was a very cloudy morning and woke up at 3 a.m. really just to climb a mountain, but was able to go to Jerusalem, see the Western Wall, float in the Dead Sea, see the Red Sea, and it was just such a great way to end and transition into my high school year and kind of stamp what my Jewish identity was as a kid by going to Israel. So at a young age, as well as going to Jewish day school, I started to develop a huge passion for the game of baseball. As I can see with a lot of kids right now that are wearing their team's jerseys, they're wearing their Dodger jerseys. It's actually very refreshing and so fun for me to be here and see kids in Temple, which is the theme of my speech, of bringing baseball and Judaism together. It's just such an uncommon thing in my career, so much so that, throughout my career of middle school, high school, college, professional, travel ball, more often than not, I was the only Jew on the team, excluding, obviously, my middle school when it was all Jews. Just wanted to make sure that was clear. The most that I really ever had on my team was a max of 2 other Jews. And coincidentally, one of them was our athletic trainer, so not even like a part of the team. Well, he is a part of the team, but you know what I'm saying. And the other guys, as I like to say, are like Jewish, not like Jewish, but Jewish. But being in baseball and being in professional baseball, being around so many different cultures of not only American cultures, but Latin American countries, Japanese, just experiencing so many different religions, I wanted to bring Judaism into my clubhouse. Two specific examples of that that I'd love to share with you guys. So a couple years ago, I was in New Hampshire, and it was right during Passover at the beginning of the year, and I had sent a message to my team before when I woke up and just kind of letting them know what Passover was, if anybody was interested, ask me questions, all of that. So we ended up having a rain delay, actually, and I don't think that we ended up playing the game. But me being who I am, I kind of took the initiative to recite the 4 questions in the clubhouse, and not only in English, but in Hebrew. And I decided against his will to pull one of my teammates, but he's from the Dominican Republic. Probably never heard Hebrew before, and probably since that day has also never heard Hebrew. But yeah, he recited the 4 questions with me in Hebrew, word for word, not like amazingly, but it was great enough that I took a video of it and sent it back to my family back at home, and everybody got a great laugh out of it. The other story actually happened last year, right around this time, because it was Rosh Hashanah, and generally my seasons would end before Rosh Hashanah, but last year was a little bit different, where they extended the season. And similarly to the other time, I let everybody know that, hey, Rosh Hashanah, what that means, this and that. And I actually put it upon myself to say, if anybody wants to come to the clubhouse before batting practice, I'm going to say some of the prayers. And there's a couple of traditions. For me, Jewish holidays is all about traditions. And unfortunately, last year, I wasn't able to be with my family, but I was with my baseball family. And that's what they are. They're my family. They've always been my family. So I wanted to bring it to them. I traveled around Albuquerque, New Mexico, trying to find challah, which is a lot more difficult task than you might think. Being from Encino, you could probably walk 5 minutes and find 10 different stores, not in Albuquerque. I took and got the challah, sliced up some apples, got some honey, brought it to the clubhouse, and my Japanese athletic trainer, who also speaks more Japanese than English, decided to stop what he was doing, stop his treatments, and come out in the clubhouse with me and recite the prayers. Hearing him say the Shehehianu was a sight to see. He loved it though, he was so into the culture, and the other really funny part about that was it was a lot of their first times trying challah, which is weird for me because obviously we grew up eating challah, and they're like, oh my gosh, this bread is so good. And I was like, I know, and then dip the apples in the honey, and it's like a match made in heaven. So that year was also a year that one of my Jewish teammates happened to be on my team, and he had played with Team Israel in the World Baseball Classic in 2017, and also in 2020, he was a part of the Olympic team. Unfortunately, I was not a part of either of those, but that kind of grew the passion and the desire for me to be a part of Team Israel. As you can kind of tell, there's a huge gap in my life between baseball and Judaism, and it just sounded like a match made in heaven for me to do what I do best of playing baseball, but representing my country. Unfortunately, not great enough to represent Team USA, but just as important for me to represent Israel. So the way that process goes with the World Baseball Classic is, outside of expressing some interest and my teammate helping me, you get reached out to. So I got reached out to about 2 months before the final rosters were announced with a preliminary 50-man roster. That had to be cut down in half before the games, and it was a long 2 months. I knew that there was like a date that they were supposed to have to announce the date or the rosters, and of course they were late. So I would reach out to people and be like, hey, haven't heard anything, yada yada. And finally, 4 days before the rosters were officially announced, I got a message from the president of Team Israel telling me Mazel Tov. And that was probably the first time I've ever heard outside of my family like Mazel Tov in relation to baseball. It was so special. It was just an exciting time. I was at my girlfriend's parents' house with my girlfriend and her mom, and I was speechless. I showed them my phone. I showed them the message. They pretty much jumped and hit the ceiling with their heads in excitement. And of course, after that was my phone call that I had to make. My parents still live in Atlanta, so I called my parents and shared with them the news. That was my phone call of getting called up to the big leagues. That was a call that I had envisioned making for years. I called my grandparents. I called my brother, my cousins. Outside of my blood family, I also had the honor of calling my girlfriend's grandparents, who are both Holocaust survivors. And not that they know too much about baseball or anything about baseball for that matter, but they are as prideful as ever in being Jewish and Israel, and it was an incredible honor for me to be able to tell them that I'm gonna wear Israel across my chest and play baseball. Even just saying that to you guys is so crazy to think about that I was able to do that. So fast forward a couple of weeks, our part of the tournament was in Miami. There's a bunch of different sections of that, and we also just happened to be matched with some powerhouses. We were against the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, Venezuela, and Nicaragua. And if anyone knows anything about baseball, I'm not sure what the comparison is for what Jews are good at, but they are good at baseball. The first night that we got there, we had a team dinner. I had known a couple of guys initially on somewhat of a personal basis before that, but I'd say about half the guys were new to Team Israel. So it was really nice that we all got to, just break the ice. I never heard so many l'chaim and mazel tov in relation to a baseball dinner in my entire life. And then at the end, our team captain, his name is Ryan Lavarnway. If anybody recognizes that name, he is from Woodland Hills. I'm sure that some of you guys know his family. He has been a part of Team Israel for a while. He spoke to us, spoke to the new guys, and just kind of prepared us for what we were about to get into. We were there to win. I know that we had the odds stacked against us, but we believed in ourselves, and we wanted to win. So he kind of just let us know what to prepare for. This is going to be the most intense games of your life, nerve-wracking, all of these emotions. And coming from somebody who's got a World Series ring, I didn't take that lightly. I was able to also speak to a couple of other great resources in the baseball community on my coaching staff, and Ian Kinsler, and Kevin Euclid, and Brad Osmus. I don't know if these names resonate with the kids, but parents, I'm sure that you guys recognize those names. Also, World Series champions also expressed to us how intense and important these games were going to be. The other question that I get most often, and I'm sure this will resonate with the kids in here, is the question I get of, how was Jock Peterson? Because Jock was on our team. And just super side note, everything that he is on TV, that's who he is in person. He is so awesome, made it a point to introduce himself and say goodbye to everybody, didn't make us feel any less than him. So fast forwarding, after our practices, after our practice games, it started to become real for me. It was the first time that I had Star of David across my chest on the baseball field. I had worn a necklace before, but sometimes that gets hidden under my shirt or my jersey. But now everybody could see what I was representing, what my team was representing, and that was a country. The main, I guess, I made it moment was before our first game, lining up and singing Hatikva on the baseball field, wearing this yarmulke right here. I didn't want to wear it today. I'm actually wearing my bar mitzvah kippah. This is probably the first time that I spoke at a temple since my bar mitzvah, so I felt it was appropriate. Anyway, that moment of singing Hatikva and seeing all the fans of Team Israel in the stands singing with us, it's hard to describe how special that moment was, but that was really the I made it moment. I don't need to talk about the games too much. If any of you guys watched, they kind of went how you would expect, but our first game, we ended up winning in late inning heroics, and I was not a part of that game. I knew that I wouldn't be pitching. I knew that I would be pitching against Puerto Rico the next night, so I was a fan. I wanted to take in the full experience, my first time playing in a big league stadium in Miami, under the lights. The most people I'd ever played in front of before that was like 15,000, and there's 45,000. I blacked out. When we took the lead in the 8th inning, I blacked out. I don't remember it. I got videos from family and friends. I don't even remember. Apparently, I jumped out of the dugout. Well, I did. I saw the video, but I don't remember that. Outside of the games being amazing, there were some also really great moments where my inner fan of a baseball fan came out. I would say in my lifetime, the 3 greatest hitters of our generation would be Albert Pujols, Miguel Cabrera, and Yadier Molina. And I got a picture with all 3 of them. I got to meet all 3 of them. The last time that I walked off a mound as a professional, Yadier Molina was the manager of the other team. He looked at me, he tipped his cap to me. I have a video kind of showing that. I'll keep that forever. The last memory that I'd love to share with you guys, continuing on the inner fanboy, was after we played Puerto Rico. Unfortunately, we got perfect game, but anyway, they did really well. We didn't do so well. And the way that it worked was we stayed at the same hotel as Puerto Rico, so we had to drive back with a police escort with Puerto Rico. Well, they were partying in the clubhouse, Team Israel sitting on the bus, just waiting for them to finish their hoorah of kicking our butt. But the fun part of that was when we all got back to the hotel. 4 buses per team, families were all on the bus, got off, and we all just hung out in the hotel lobby. Javier Baez got a classic Javier Baez hit off of me, and when he got off the bus, I was like, bro, how are you gonna do that to me on national television and all that? And he's like, I'm sorry, I don't know. And Francisco Lindor's daughter ran into my mom accidentally, and my mom was just like, oh, I'm sorry. And I was like, Mom, do you know whose son that was, or whose daughter that was? She had no idea. But those are the moments that I'm gonna remember. The final thought that I'll leave you guys with is this being the last time that I will potentially be on a mound as a professional, I wouldn't want it to end any other way. I do anticipate myself being a part of baseball for my life. I anticipate myself being a part of baseball and Team Israel. And I messaged the team president and told him that I'd love to continue to be with them if they want me to. And I hope that I am. And I hope that whenever that day comes, that all of you kids that are sitting out here, I hope that you guys get to experience that too. I hope that I get to coach you guys, and then you get to come and speak to your temple, because at the end of the day, we're all a family, right? Just like what the rabbi said at the beginning, we're all together, we're all a community, and yeah. So I appreciate you guys coming out today. I appreciate you guys listening. I'm so excited for what we're gonna do outside. It's gonna be a great day. I've already had a parent tell me to tire his kid out. Don't worry, I got you. We have an amazing schedule planned. It is hot out. We'll make him tired, because I want to sleep tonight too, don't worry. But anyway, thank you guys, and Shabbat Shalom. Thank you. I'm just going to leave this here right now.
Knocked it out of the park, didn't he?